My whole life becomes about using every part of my life, every day, every minute of every day. It's so boring and depressing and sad and pathetic and dark. But that's what happens, and I can't control it. Hello. Thanks for coming back again to listen to Step 7, which is what we're on this week. Step 7 is humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. Now remember, it's not a religious program, so it's old-fashioned language. We don't have to think of your higher power as a guy or an entity even. Whatever you've chosen as your higher power, Step 7 is about turning over these character defects to your higher power, just being like, I can't live like that anymore. It's causing me too much pain. And we sin in all the steps leading up to now. These character defects are the reason we used, and they're also causing us a nightmare of a life, really. They're really interfering with our happiness. They're giving us anxiety, depression. They're making us feel out of alignment with our higher selves. And I guess Step 7 is making a commitment to live your highest self in a way. I always find that there's two voices inside me. There's a loud ego voice, which is normally like shouting about resentments or shouting about, I've got to get this. It's scared that I'm not going to get what I want, or it's scared that I'm going to lose what I have. And it's a loud voice. It's like, Rrr! It shouts and it's loud and it's there. The minute I wake up, it's there. Shout, 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 shout. But then behind that voice, there's a quiet little tiny voice that's saying, everything's all right. Don't worry. It's all cool. This little voice, and that's always there too, but the big one drowns it out. This big brash in your face resentments and fear and just obnoxious. What I try to do on a daily basis through this program is to be listening more to the little voice than the big voice, quieting that loud voice down, which is kind of a destructive voice. It's self-destructive. It makes me want to use. And listening more to the little voice inside me that's saying, it's all cool, it's going to be fine. Don't worry. We've all got that. I firmly believe everyone has that. The loud voice can be about trauma. Remember this, these people did this. Remember these resentments. Remember, for me as well, depression's a big one. Oh, there's no hope. Life's scary. Big monster talking. But then behind him, there's a little guy who's just always been there and always looking after me. And that for me is my higher power. That for me is God. It's a quiet voice. It's the truth. That's the truth. The loud voice is lies. The loud voice is just fear talking. So Step 7 is about saying, you know what? I want to give up listening to that loud voice as much as I can on a daily basis. By using these steps, I'm prepared to give up listening to that idiot and try and listen to the little tiny voice going, it's going to be fine. That guy is the guy that makes me happy and the guy I want to listen to. So it's asking our higher power to get rid of these character defects, these things that make me want to use, these things that get in the way of a happy life. So it's an attitude adjustment. We become different around this part of the program. Here's where you start to change. I only came into this program to stop drinking and taking drugs. I didn't realize that I was also going to find a new way of living, which is so much better than the old way of living. I didn't know I was going to have a spiritual shift, an attitude adjustment. I didn't expect that, but that's the beauty. That's been the really amazing thing about doing these steps, is it's been the change that's happened to me inside. And I can either live in that change and be connected to that change by keep doing the steps, or I can stop doing the steps, not do the program, and feel going back to that old behavior, going back to the dishonesty, going back to the jealousy, going back to the depression, all the things that were making my life unbearable. And the reason why I was like, well, my life's so unbearable, I've got to use, because I can't not use, because life's too shit. Life was never shit. It was those things that was making my life shit. And those things, Step 7 is about asking for those things to go away. That's all it is. Being prepared to live a different life. And it's exciting because this is where, they say in the book, this is where the rubber hits the road. This is where we start to get better. And this is where we start to have a better life. And this is where we start to know serenity. You know that feeling of just being peaceful? That's a beautiful feeling, isn't it? Where you just feel peace, like, I'm peaceful. I never had that when I was using, never, not once. And then when I gave up, I got little flashes of it. And then those flashes grew. The longer I stayed doing the steps, the peace and the serenity just grew. And I just felt, oh yeah, that little voice is always there. So everything's going to be fine. So that's step 7. Step 7 is quite an easy one. It's a beautiful step and it's pretty easy. Humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. Don't get tied up in the language because it was written years ago, in the 30s. For me, it's asking my higher power to live differently a day at a time. Every day, every morning when I wake up. Can I live differently? Will you help me live differently? And I do have a little prayer that I say every morning and every night. And I'm going to make a video on that when we get to the end of the steps. But I want to do like a video about my routine, my daily routines and stuff, so that I can tell you what they are. And you maybe want to do a version of that or not. Or you can just tell me to shut up. Anyway, love you guys. And once again, thank you for helping me stay sober today. Let's get to some questions. Remember to tweet me your questions at Stephen Hilton 23, Stephen Hilton with a PH 23 on Twitter, and then I can see them all. Liz Trojan writes, was Laura's love not enough to stop you using? Good question. And a lot of people message me about loved ones, family members, and ask me why can their kids not stop them using? Why can their spouse not stop them using? Basically, an addict, apparently our brains are wired differently. Chemically, they're wired differently. And when we use, the substance goes to the top of the priority list. It jumps over everything. And I can tell you from my experience, that's what happens. It's like kryptonite for an addict to use. And the minute I use, everything else goes out the window. And it's not that I don't love people and I don't feel the love. It's that my whole life becomes about using or drinking, and it's really sad. It's really sad. It's brutal, and there's nothing I could do to stop it. It's like being run over by a train. The minute I had those first OxyContin pills 6 years ago, even after 10 years of sobriety, I'd built this amazing life for myself. I'd met Laura. Everything was going great. Something in my head that I'm wired differently, and it triggered an allergy of the body, they say, and an obsession of the mind. So I'm allergic to this substance. It does something weird to my body, and I become obsessed in my mind, and I cannot stop thinking about it. My whole life becomes about using it. Every part of my life, every day, every minute of every day. It's so boring and depressing and sad and pathetic and dark. But that's what happens, and I can't control it. And that's what happens to every alcoholic when they're using. You cross a line and your whole life becomes very small. And that whole life is, how do I get the next drink, or how do I get the next drug? Everything shrinks down into that. And it's nothing to do with the other person. It's nothing to do with not loving someone enough. It's nothing to do with family members. And that's why the best advice I can give to family members is go to Al-Anon, which is a 12-step fellowship for families of alcoholics. And they basically teach you there that you yourself have to get better and become an example to the addict. There's nothing, unfortunately, that you can do to make someone stop. They have to stop. It sounds like a cliche, but that's all there is to it. And it's difficult and it's sad for people to be in that situation, but that's just the way it is. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. If you're not an addict, it's hard to understand. But if you are an addict, you know what I'm talking about. That horrible life. Ugh, yeah, I don't want to go back there. Hey, Marty Walker on Twitter says, do you have to keep doing the steps throughout your life, or do you just do them once when you get sober? Most people I know do them periodically. I've done them 3 times, or is it twice? My problem is I've done them twice completely, 1 to 12, and then I keep starting them again, like 1 to 3 or 1 to 4, and then stopping, because I'm having a problem sticking to a sponsor, and I'm also having a problem not going to enough meetings. So I'm not perfect at this, and this, for me, doing these videos to you is helping me stay sober. A bit selfish, really. No, not really. Well, it is a bit. But yeah, it's helping me. So yeah, most people do them periodically when they start to go a bit mental. They do the steps. Some people do them once a year, some people do them every few years, and some people just do them once, and that's enough for them. I think it's down to personal experience. I've done them twice, and both times have been a miracle. That's the only thing I can say about it, really. It's miraculous. Changed my life both times. So yeah, I love you guys, and let me know how you're getting on, because I love to read the comments. I do try and read them all. I can't respond to them all because there's so many, which is amazing, and I love it. But it really is lovely to read your comments, and thank you for saying such lovely things. And I hope you're enjoying this little journey. But yeah, I want to know how you guys are getting on. Next week, why don't we go to step 8? Because it comes after 7, and the steps are in an order. My sponsor used to say, the steps are in an order for a reason. Don't know why I said that, but he used to say that. He used to say that all the time. Anyway, they are. Step 8 next week. Step 8's a good one. Is it a good one? Yeah, it's a good one. They're all good. Step 8's good. Step 9's good. They've all been good so far. 1 to 7 are great. They're all great. Love you. Bye.